Good afternoon, investigators. Mike Evans and Casey Pyne with riveting episode 227 of Spy Curious, which Nathan just watched previously at Investigations Uni and really enjoyed Scott Taylor's presentation. He learned heaps, and I tell you what, I wish I was taking notes. I learned heaps too. So, g'day, Freddie. Good to see you, mate. How are you, Casey?
I am pretty exhausted. It's been a massive week, and investigations is pretty pumping at the moment. It's difficult to find help, and whether it's surveillance or desktop, it's
impossible to find help.
Yeah.
It really is impossible to find help.
Yeah.
G'day, Xavier. Good to see you,
Xavier.
mate. It's great to see you. I hope everything's good down in beautiful Melbourne. So, people, we've got some jobs and lots of things happening today, some news. And Casey, what are you going to be doing today?
I'm doing the review. Hi, Joyce. Yeah, doing much better, thank you. I'm doing the review for EPOS. So I paid for the subscription this week, and I'll just show you some of the differences I noticed.
Oh, very, very good. Okay. So did you get a price? Do you know how much it is?
It's £30 a month, and you can cancel whenever. I don't know how much that ended up being in Australian dollars. Yeah, so it's not too bad.
Very
given
good.
You can cancel anytime.
Good on you. Good afternoon, Evan, down in Adelaide. Good afternoon, everybody. I've got a question about security vetting. Type it into the chat and I will answer your question about security vetting here live. Okay, so that's no problem at all. G'day, David. Good to see you, mate. People, we're going to start off today. I've got some job vacancies and Mike Evans's sermon of the week, which everybody has been really looking forward to. If I can just bring it up. Here it is. I hope it's coming. Oops, wrong one. Australian Security Academy. I am the Chief Executive Officer and one of the instructors, assessors at the Academy, along with Pat Flynn, Casey Pyne, Alex and several others who you meet as you go through the program. I'm the person that receives all the inquiries and passes them out and the assessments and allocates them to the assessors for feedback, all that sort of thing. So my week is really just like this.
Mike.
That's great. That's what I put my hand up for. It's like this.
Mike.
And I also say, who needs help?
Me.
And I'll respond and I help. The other thing that I do is, as far as future work opportunities go, every week I have a program on Friday afternoon called Spy Curious. And during that program, I advertise positions vacant that employers have come to me and offered during the week. And you can see them just simply by watching that program 2 o'clock every Friday. I also have an industry association called AirLab, which you are a member of, which gives you access to Investigations Uni, where we do continuous professional development that's going to assist you to not only just get work as a corporate, government or private investigator, but sustain it and grow within the organisation. I have a dedicated investigation jobs page on Facebook where you can go and see this week's new investigations jobs. And they will be there and you can read who's advertised this week, where they're from, what sort of work's there. And it's all a one-stop shop. Look at those fantastic jobs that are there available this week. Every week I do that. I also have a dedicated YouTube channel where you can go and watch replays of past episodes of Spy Curious and other investigation-related events, issues, causes, that sort of thing. Successes, they're all there. So when someone contacts me and says to me, where can I go and find a job? And they've just been studying with me for 2 years, 8 months, 3 months, whatever. And they don't do that. This is how I feel.
Fat birds are purses. They're big and they're cheesy.
I just want a chick. What's on a ham and pineapple, mate?
That's what it feels like, because I bust my guts every week. And I put up jobs. Here's this week's jobs: Pinkertons, with Allied Universal, with Brookside, and Cyber Solutions down in Georgetown in Tasmania, and with Quantum Corp. And you'll see all those jobs this week on episode 227 of Spy Curious. And you'll see other jobs referred to, or how to get them referred to in this area. And you'll see me mentioning this about jobs. It's all there for you. It's laid out for you. You've received links to it. Go there and have a look. That's where the jobs are. If they're advertising there, it's an opportunity. Don't miss it. Get in touch with those people, and there's a whole lot more jobs than I just showed you. So take control confidently of your own future, knowing that all the searching's already done for you here, here, through here, here, here. And through our communications during the week. Get on our Facebook page, see the jobs there. Why would you write to me and ask me what jobs are on this week when you can just click and look and see for yourself? I can't get the job for you, but I tell you what, you do this and you do your continuous professional development, show future employers you're a member of this, and watch this, and your chances of getting work skyrocket. So that's really, really important. Seek a group down in Melbourne are looking for investigators. All you have to do is Google that website, ring them up. Guarantee you, if you do that today, you'll be starting work 9 o'clock Tuesday morning. Not bad.
Fat birds are purses. They're big and they're cheesy.
I just want a chick.
Okay, so if you're looking for work, get on the Facebook page, people. There are jobs there everywhere. Pinkertons want you. Massel Group want you. Clarity Investigations want you. Allied Universal want you. Brookside want you. They're there in droves. It's a click away. Just click on it. Then Google them. Seeker want you. You contact Robert Seeker this afternoon. You'll start Tuesday morning. There's never been a time. Casey opened up today with, it's hard to get help. Pathetically.
There's only so much I can do.
So we've had a comment in the comment section about a private investigator breaking and entering and trespassing and peering through windows. If you ever have that happen to you, contact your local state regulatory authority of investigators and security guards and jockeys and real estate agents or whatever, and complain to them. They're the regulator of that. We're an investigations news service. We don't regulate private investigators. We don't even know who that private investigator, if he was an investigator, was. There's nothing to do with us. Get it onto the state regulatory authority, show them your USP, and they'll take action on your behalf, okay? So it's not our problem. It's the state regulatory authority's problem. And they shouldn't be dropping USBs. Yes, Badar Ali, Friday's my busiest day. So that's where you won't hear from me on Friday, because I'm doing this all day Friday live. And so recognition of prior learning, people. For security vetting, you must have 5 years industry experience. No one will come to me for that qualification without extensive industry experience. So if you've been vetting for 5 years in a government department or for a corporation such as Cirrus or Barrington's or similar, or a government agency, if you've been doing that in an HR role or in a specific vetting role, you can get recognition of prior learning for it. My word, it takes, you must supply your qualifications, position description, We need a resume. That's not evidence, but it does tell us about your history, where you worked, and we can ask you more questions about that. And basically, we can, from there, look at your recognition of prior learning. Now, that applies to security risk management, private investigations, government investigations as well. But for security vetting, you're going to have to have done security risk assessments of personnel. You're going to have to be able to deal with conflict. There's a whole range of things. And if you send me an email off the Australian Security Academy website or private message me on LinkedIn, I'll send your email address. I'll send it all to you so you can see it. So there are job vacancies throughout Australia, people. They're very exciting times out there for people who are emerging and want to get into this industry. You'll never find a better time than in the next 2 years. So get on with completing that course. Let me know you've completed, you've got your license, get on our social networking sites and apply for those jobs. The employers want to hear from you, because if you are working for them, they are making money and so are you. It's a win-win situation. So Casey, you going to go into your one?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said last week, I showed you that EPIOS, which is one of my favorite open source intelligence tools, can now do searches on phone numbers as well. And EPIOS has it's a freemium service. So you can get a certain amount of information free. And if you want more information, you can get it if you pay. So it's £29.99 plus VAT. So I'm not sure, I don't quite remember how much that worked out to be in Australian dollars. And do I think it's worth it? I don't know. You would have to be really, really stuck on a case and see that there is information there that's obfuscated in order to pay that money. So I'll show you what I mean. Just for a simple example here, we've got Mike's. I looked up Mike, and we've got, yes, he has a Google account. It's the last update was recent, so that we know that he uses this as a Google account and he uses it regularly. We can see Mike's Skype with his photo there, so that's great. And so this is just the free version. This isn't the paid, this is the free. And we can also see that there is a Twitter account related to that email, or X now, as it's been rebranded as. Now, if I pay, when I do the paid version, it just brings up extra LinkedIn information. So this is scraped information. There are a lot of websites that scrape this information that bring it up, and it's just on LinkedIn. You can probably see that. I don't think Mike has a particularly private profile. So that's the only extra thing that it brought up. And you do not want to be paying £29.99 plus VAT for that. But another example it'll show you if there is information on the free account that they're not showing you. For example, I looked up my email, and it showed that I was in a Vivino leak, which is I believe it's an app I downloaded just when I was traveling through Europe. And if you liked a wine, you could take a picture, upload it, and put in the information about it. So you have like a little index of wine that you like. So this is information that it's shown that, hey, if you pay for this service, you can get this information. You can see that it possibly has a photo, possibly has a profile name, username. If that stuff is actually there, then it could be handy if you're super, super stuck. But then I'd also just be looking up the breach data myself to find it. And again, it's got so obviously I was in the Duolingo breach, which is a massive breach, and that information is out there everywhere. It's another thing that you probably really shouldn't be paying for unless you don't quite have those skills yet in order to look up these kind of things. And it's handy, hey, to have it all in one place for it all to come up and to be listed. I love EPIOS as a free service because it's literally plug and play. You put it in, it has all the APIs already, drags all the information in for you. But whether I would pay for it or not, I really don't think it's worth it. If you're really, really stuck and you want my Vivino information, if there's a username there or a different name that you could use to pivot, sure, maybe. But unless, yeah, I think it's a great service without having to pay for it. That's my review.
Very good summary. You've been warned, people. Okay, that's really important.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty.
That wasn't supposed to be there. That was a slip. Yeah, my LinkedIn profile is not particularly hidden.
Me.
That's what it looks like, okay? So it's a commercial profile to advertise a brand, which is the Australian Security Academy. And it works very well. LinkedIn's very, very good method of advertising if ever you're looking for it. So that's really important. The big news this week, some of the things that have been happening this week around investigations throughout Australia. The team down at ProCare have got 4 of their staff in the finalists, the ACT ARPA Excellence Awards. So well done, everybody. There's some outstanding achievement in the psychological claim, outstanding consultant, exceptional leadership award, and best new starter award down there at ProCare. So well done, ProCare. Great to see that. In the news, if you've been reading it, the former tax commissioner's son has been sentenced to 13 years in a correctional facility. And when they investigated him over the 7 years they investigated, they went through 30 terabytes of digital evidence during the investigation, which amounted to 10,000 pages of incriminating documents that has got him 13 years in prison for his $6.8 million fraud. Can't do the time, don't do the crime. So he claimed his ADD and smoking dope led to it. That was his excuse, and he wanted to get off on that. There are lots of people with ADD. Heck of a lot of people with ADD. There's people with ADHD. They don't go setting up companies to rip off the taxation department. Only one person did that, and it wasn't because of his dope smoking and ADHD. So that's really important. Down in Tassie, a big thing down there this week, it came out in the news that James Price of Mornington is ordered to pay $21,500 after a racial slur outburst against his neighbour. So that came out and it was reported in the Mercury. Here we go. The facts of the matter were set out in a recent decision by Tasmanian Civil and Administrative Tribunal member Robbie Winter. What? Australian Security Academy teacher and graduate Robbie Winter. He is, there he is. He's a barrister, he's a solicitor, he's a licensed private investigator. He's been teaching for the Australian Security Academy since the year 2001. Great bloke. And he sits on not only that tribunal, but other ones too. And he's probably one of the fairest people you'll ever meet and one of the most popular, likeable people, just like Scott Taylor, who you met previously in Investigations Uni today, out there. So great to see Robbie breaking in the news this week, and a fair outcome for the lady who was a nurse, was minding her own business, didn't do anything, and was racially slurred by her next door neighbour. Speaking of Scott Taylor just presented for us today at Investigations Uni in episode 60, and he talked about elicitation skills and non-verbal communication. Scott's got a 6-day program coming up in Thailand, and this is on in late November, early December, about the skills he was talking about. He's the first 3 days here. What you'll learn: mastery of non-verbal communication, micro expressions, elicitation, and on day 3 and 4, OSINT and influential psychology. And the beauty of that is Casey can't go because she's too busy, so she can't ask me to pay for it. So I'm really pleased. So that's absolutely fantastic news here in episode 227 of Spy Curious. No, I don't think you better. I don't think you better do anything near. Now, we had a graduate from our academy, and this person has several security licenses in New South Wales, several, not just private investigator. And it's very important this person applies correctly and does his job properly. And he raised this issue for AirLap members this week, that if you do not display your identity badge while you're on surveillance and you get caught by the regulator SLED, it's a $5,500 fine. So security guards have to wear an identity badge like police officers do. They have to in New South Wales, but so do private investigators under the legislation in New South Wales. They have to as well. So you'd be out on surveillance. This is Casey and I on surveillance. Look like you're on surveillance, Casey. And you're going to be wearing one of these. Right? And someone comes up to you and says, what are you doing? Right? And you're there like this, focused on what you're doing on surveillance like we all are. None of us get on the laptop or drink coffee or anything like that. They're going to know what you're doing. And as a result of them knowing what you're doing, basically...
That's right. Your cover's blown.
My entire cover is blown, you understand?
Your cover's completely blown. It wasn't even worth going out there. So this is a major issue. We're taking it up with AirLap. We have written to the Chief Commissioner, and we would like an exemption for Australian Security Academy and AirLap members from having to wear that badge on display while on surveillance. So you don't want to have this on your chest. Pretty scary, isn't it? Okay. While you're on surveillance, and it has to be visible and above the waist. It's a very ridiculous. It's fair enough for security guards. Okay. But it's something that they've messed up. Now, the Chief Commissioner will listen to an exemption. And there's no reason a private investigator shouldn't get an exemption from that thing. So we've asked about it. If we get knocked back on it, then we can ask for reasons why and we can address it. But the beauty of it is we have the numbers and the clout as an industry association to take it to the Chief Commissioner and respectfully request that it's done. Now, Joy asked a question earlier on how we're going about the issue we had previously with the Office of Fair Trading in Brisbane. That's been fixed. It was fixed within 24 hours of them becoming aware of it. It was like pulling teeth, but it got fixed. And that was due to, we addressed it. We asked for it to be equally applied like it is in the other states, and are not Stone Age obstructionist 5 years ago units to be brought up to date. And we got it. And they fixed it that day to their credit. That was pretty good. Okay. I am not expecting resistance from the Commissioner in New South Wales. This is one of those things that just wasn't thought about in the recent changes with SLED, private investigators, consumer affairs for mercantile agents, all that sort of thing. Okay. I'm not aware of any surveillance investigator being fined $5,500 for not displaying their ID. I am not. But the issue is the clients we work for want us to be compliant as licensed private investigators. We want to be compliant. We don't want to look like this. We don't want to look like that.
No.
We don't want to look like this. And we don't want to have this sitting on our chest, because it's like a big arrow saying, come and get me. All right. You do not want that to happen. So that's really, really important that you understand we're in there batting for it. I wouldn't go putting on my ID on surveillance just at this stage. It's only if you get caught. But if you do get caught, you are facing $5,500 fine. That's the reality of it.
I've never been asked by police if I've had police come up to me while on surveillance, and they have never said to me, why don't you have your license on display? So, don't know.
Yeah, well, you're in Queensland, I guess, and so that's in New South, and they could enforce it. Yeah, so you never escalate that sort of situation, and you just be very careful how you go about it, because it's not the police that will enforce it. It's the Security Licence Enforcement Division who can enforce it. Now, 200 years ago, you could be deported to Australia for impersonating an Egyptian. Well, I think they changed that one. I don't think that's still there now, right? So sometimes when something's out of date, they fix it and they address it, and we'll wait the Chief Commissioner's reply, They will consider it. They won't be getting in touch with us tomorrow, but they have a formal letter, not an email. Okay, they have a formal letter requesting an exemption for the Australian Security Academy licensed private investigators who conduct surveillance in New South Wales, that they don't have to do that. So that's some news that's come out of this week. Other things that have happened this week. Kylie King wants you to go and work for Quantum Corp with factual investigations, and we have someone watching right now who has had some success with getting an interview at Quantum Corp. So people apply, get in touch with them. Adam Chambers down in Melbourne, you'll be working for the oldest investigation agency in the country, Pinkertons. They're looking for a factual investigator down in Melbourne. So get in touch with Adam. Lovely people down at Pinkertons. We should get Andy back on the show, shouldn't we, Casey?
Yeah, absolutely, we should.
Allied Universal, they're looking for experienced insurance investigators throughout the country. And Brookside, they want general insurance investigators. Cyber Solutions down in Georgetown in Tassie, beautiful Tasmania. They are looking for investigators down there as well. So there's certainly no shortage of basically investigations positions vacant. Like I said, contact statement. Yep. Thank you. Good advice. Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate that. New South Wales ICAC were given powers to use recordings that were made illegally in their investigations. Okay. Once again, if you go back through your list of Friday Investigations Uni that you have access to, and you can see Pat Flynn's presentation on recording conversations and see how that works. Interestingly, the issue with the display of the license isn't about recording conversations or recording video. It's actually out conducting the security activity. So you might be like Scott Taylor was today. When in Investigations Duty, he gave us 3 examples of penetration tests that he's done using elicitation skills. And he gave us an example of how within 15 minutes he'd mapped the whole security of one government department, or it might have been just slightly longer than that, with a penetration test. Now, he would not have been wearing his license to be visible because that would have given him away. And he was only wearing a shirt. He wasn't wearing a jacket over the top of it. Now, he may have been instructed by a government department not to wear that, not to display that, as an example. And he couldn't have done his work, and that government department would be more vulnerable today had he followed that legislation. Now, Scott's also a security guard. He's an active security guard and retail security theft security guard, and he lectures all around the world on it, and he complies when he's doing that with his ID on his chest. So it's a tricky situation. It's just one of those situations that arises from time to time. And you're right, Craig, there's legalities about recording conversations, but get on Pat Flynn's session in Investigations Uni on it, and you'll have full understanding of it. And you'll also know the legislation about if there's a complaint about how you recorded it, Pat gives you that's the case law on it, because Pat is a very complete instructor when he does these sorts of things. There's a whole stack of stuff still to go. We've got 2 minutes left, Casey. Done that, done all that. Oh, look, this is really important. I can't overemphasize this, people. You're probably sick of watching it. I'll just do it. My client is an established 30-year investigation agency with multiple contracts with insurance companies around Australia. They're seeking CTP liability investigators down in Melbourne, Victoria. And they've said to me, send every graduate. No experience required, no experience necessary. They must be a licensed private investigator and an Australian Security Academy graduate student and a member of an industry association. Now, they want you to be a member of an industry association such as AirLap because their clients demand it. Allianz and Suncorp Metway demand it. So it's free. Join. Get onto Investigations Uni, do your CPD. Okay? Is that an onerous thing to ask? No, it's not. Barristers, lawyers, claims managers all do it. It's a professional industry association. And that's what CPD is all about, opening up the opportunities for people. Why would you pay to be a member of an industry association, $250 a year, get nothing for it, when you are a member of AIRLAP as an Australian Security Academy graduate student? You get access to Investigations Uni every Friday, not once a year for a conference, right? You get interesting, practically applied topics, like people were raving today about how good Scott Taylor was, right? Okay. So, and you get that every week, and it's replayable. It's not locked away because we're not embarrassed about it, because we know it's right. It's an industry association that is professional for the benefit of the Australian Security Academy students. Take full advantage of it. I really think I have covered everything. Casey's covered her topic. You know Casey, don't you?
She's a spy.
She is. So that's really important. When you're asked to go out and do surveillance in New South Wales, it's because a client instructed you to. It might be someone that's worried about corporate fraud or someone exaggerating their claim. They give the instructions on that. They expect you to be compliant with the rules, and that's why we're writing to the Chief Commissioner. Here's some client instructions.
Instructions. Stake out Wayne Manor.
So there's Archie telling people to stake out Wayne Manor in his instructions. They're probably a little bit iffy instructions, those ones. But people, I really think, Casey, we covered everything?
I believe so.
Let's see what they say at Hawaii 5.
That's it?
That's it. That's it.
That must be it. Guess who's got a new toy?
작전 종료. 전원 복귀할 것.
Mission complete, people. That's how every investigation agency in Australia completes their week. You got that one, Casey? What do you got to say about that?
Oh, that is amazing. Awesome. I'm so happy. Thanks for letting me know, Joyce. I can't wait to get down to Sydney when he's here in a couple of weeks' time. So fantastic. That's fantastic feedback. I'm sure he'll love to hear that as well.
Thanks, Xavier. Thanks, Joyce. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Nathan. Xavier, when you go back and watch that replay, mate, of Scott's slides, just take screenshots. And don't forget, tomorrow morning on that replay, all the LinkedIn and links to Scott will be in that replay tomorrow morning, okay? And subscribe to the YouTube channel, please, people. We need to get our subscribers up.
Oops.
Time to be afraid. It's Nathan's assessments. We're looking forward to them, Nathan. Oh boy, we might put them up here on the channel next week for you, Nathan. Everyone can enjoy them. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching. Get on that replay of Scott, and thanks for coming in, Casey. I know you're absolutely flat knacker. I don't know how you found time.
Yeah, well, answering emails in between jobs.
I'm docking your pay. Okay. You heard that confession, everybody. Thanks, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Have a